Welcome into PressBox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of PressBox and PressBoxOnline.com. Normally, Gary Stein is with me on these Wednesday or Thursday night excursions into the world of newsmakers and the world of sports. He's away on another assignment. I'm going to be talking to one of the up-and-coming young stars of eventing. Lillian Heard is going to join us right after I tell you a little bit about the Costas Inn. Costas Inn, everybody in town knows the Costas Inn is the preeminent place for steamed crabs, crab cakes, crab soup. They got a whole host of other menu items that are special items during the course of the week. But during the pandemic, the Costas Inn has raised their game in the curbside world because they know a lot of people still aren't comfortable going inside restaurants. So you can order your food online at costasinn.com. You can pay for it online, and then when you pick it up, you don't even have to get out of your car. They'll bring it all out to you, and it's all packed immaculately. It's our favorite restaurant, the Costas Inn. We appreciate their sponsorship on these shows, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them at the end of this. But first, I want to welcome in Lillian Heard, who is an eventing young. Is it fair to say you're a young up-and-coming superstar, Lillian Heard?
I don't know. I might not be too young anymore. Maybe
Okay.
5 years ago, they could have said that.
All right. Hey, it's really interesting to talk to you because when I went to your website, Lillian J. Heard Eventing, it's very interesting. You train with Boyd Martin and I guess his wife Silva. Is that the case?
That's right.
And
yep. And I
Boyd,
I rent from them as well. My barn is on their property, so I'm deep within their program.
So do you live and work at the facility there, Windura?
I work there. I have my own business, my own barn there that I rent from Boyd, but I train with them closely, and I live nearby. I'm married to another Australian event rider. His name's Ryan Wood, who's best friends with Boyd. So we're sort of all in this kind of riding community together.
Oh, it's a little incestuous riding community.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, Boyd won the event last year. Boyd was on with us last year on a Zoom. Is that correct? Boyd was the winner.
That's right.
Year.
He won it last year.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
What are his chances of winning it again?
Not good, because he actually doesn't have a horse in the 5-star. He has one in the 3-star, but he doesn't have one in the 5-star. So he's out for this year. His top horse, he just went to the World Equestrian Games and took his top horse there. So he didn't have one for this event.
All right. I'm learning, as I explained to you off the air. I'm kind of new at this, like a lot of viewers of this of Zoom, about eventing. So it seems like there's only 7 of these events in the world, the 5-star, and yet he somehow didn't work it out to have a horse in that. That seems a little strange after he won it last year.
Well, for us, the sort of the 5-stars are the mega thing we want to get to. We're always trying to point a horse towards it, but another big thing that we try to point our horses towards are competing for our country at the World Equestrian Games and the Olympic Games. So this year, because it was World Equestrian Games year, that sort of took precedence. But normally any other year, I mean, you'd be just desperate to have a horse to come to this event. They're rare to come to, and they're so big. It's huge to have it here locally.
So when Marty booked you for me to do this Zoom, and I'm appreciative of your time, he said, she's great, and she's riding in the 3-star and the 5-star. So you have horses in both, and they're not the same horses by any way, shape, or form, correct?
That's right. I have a horse in the 3-star that would be, a few years behind the horse in the 5-star in sort of like competitive levels. The 5-star is 2 levels above the 3-star. So, some people that are in the 3-star would be coming to kind of get to know the lay of the land, so that maybe in a few years when they have a horse that's produced and experienced enough, that they'll come back and do the 5-star. But my 5-star horse is my old companion. I've been competing for a really long time. This is actually his 11th 5-star. he's been all over the world doing it. And we did it last year, so I'm really excited to be back doing it.
And what's his name?
His name is LCC Barnaby. We call him Barnaby.
Okay, that sounds good. You know, as I get to know this sport a little bit more, when I interviewed Joey Meyer a couple weeks ago, Joey was explaining to me, because I would have thought that, boy, these younger horses are the ones you need for the cross country because they're so fit and they're vigorous and all that. And he was explaining to me the younger horses are the up and coming horses that need to gain experience. It's the older horses. So is that been the case? And it looks like you do a lot in coaching on your website, coaching, training, and finding a horse for people.
That's right.
So do you do all things? You train young horses into becoming eventing horses?
Exactly. And with the 5-star level, because it's so difficult,
Yeah.
you do need an older horse. They have to have sort of been around the block. I mean, remember, like with an athlete, like a human athlete, the younger ones are better, but you're still talking about, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old athletes. With horses, a young horse is 6 years old. Like 6 years is not a lot of time to be on this earth. And so a 6-year-old wouldn't really have the mental maturity to go and do all of these really difficult things that we ask them. Plus they've only had 6 years of like working their muscles. Like it takes years to cultivate the actual stamina to do the 5-star level. So normally 5-star level horses are 10, 11, 12, 13. My horse Barnaby's actually 16. So he's been around the block. There is a point where they become too old for it and their body isn't as strong as it once was. But it's really about experience that gets you good results at the level.
And you used a word that kind of surprised me, but I've been around horses, thoroughbred race horses in the past, but you use the word mentally, that they're not old enough mentally. So is experience up in the head, or is it muscle
Absolutely.
memory between the head and the heart and the muscles, so to speak?
Yeah, part of it is muscle memory and just habit. So once the horse sort of learns that this is how we do it, their body does it, even if they're not totally conscious of what they're doing. But a lot of it is like actual, like they have to know the job themselves. It's so fast paced at the 5-star level that it can't just be that the rider tells them to do it and then they do it. They can't just be obedient. It's not like having a well-trained animal. They do what I say. It goes so quick. They actually have to know how to do it themselves too. And that takes time and doing it for a long time and doing it slowly up the levels.
All right. One of the things I do understand intuitively, the 3-star, 5-star level, without quantifying what the difference is, I understand that the cross country on the 3-star is going to be not as rigorous as the 5-star cross country. What's the difference between dressage at the 3-star and the 5-star level? Is it less complicated movements for the 3-star horses?
Exactly. It's less complicated movements. There are some movements that are similar, but they're sort of asked in an easier way at the 3-star level. It comes up slower. It's a little bit more simple for the less experienced horses to be able to sort of work their way through it.
Okay.
And then the show jumping, which is the third phase, is a little bit smaller.
Okay.
Yeah,
smaller, shorter jumps. But
it's still, if you're a spectator, thinking of coming out and you can only come for the 3-star, it's still really impressive. They're huge jumps. These horses are doing crazy things that you wouldn't even believe that they can do. So it's not like it's a small level and a big level. They're both big levels. It's just a 5-star is the mega level.
And the money is a lot different at the 5-star level than the 3-star, the purses.
That's right. Yeah, the 5-star is the big class.
Okay. So Lillian, you work at this all the time, and as we joked before, I said, when you finish at about 7:30 tonight, do you hit the sack? And you said, pretty much. The lifestyle you have is probably not very glamorous, so to speak.
No.
Yeah. What is a day like for Lillian Heard?
So we normally start work around 7 a.m. I get on my first horse at 7:30. And I ride about half the day, and then I teach riding lessons to my students. I've got a lot of really awesome up and coming young riders that train with me. And I'm normally out there until, 6 o'clock at night teaching, taking care of the horses, doing all the sort of animal care type thing. And then I come home and I collapse into bed around 8 p.m. Sadly.
Sounds terribly exciting. It sounds like.
But you're outside all day long, and
it's something you have to have a passion. You have to have a passion.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. There's some days we joke that it'd be way better to have an office job today, and then there's some days where I think, God, I imagine people are sitting in an office or looking out the window thinking, wish I was outside. So
yeah.
Good sides and bad sides.
What about the elements? Tomorrow, I hear it's supposed to be raining a good bit of the afternoon. Does that affect the horses on dressage days?
I actually think sometimes, and this would be a personal opinion, when it's raining, it can actually make the horses better because they're so miserable that they just do what you say. They sort of just put their head down. They're like, get me through this. Where sometimes on the nicer days, they're kind of more excitable, and because these horses they're very, very fit. Dressage can be exciting when it's not supposed to be. If you go to watch, you'll be thinking, "Ooh, that horse doesn't look like it's behaving." So sometimes on the rainy days, even though it's miserable for the riders, the horses tend to just sort of put their heads down and do their job.
Learning dressage. I think anybody that's a horse person, male or female, gets on the cross country and they kind of know what to do. The show jumping kind of comes automatic, but it seems like the tedious nature of dressage. How hard is that for a young rider to begin to get the handle on how to handle a horse for dressage?
It's really hard. It takes years and years. I mean, I've been at this for I don't know, 25 years, and I'm still have so much left to learn. There's never a point where you go, oh yeah, I've got it. I figured that out. Although I say that's true probably for all phases. To win, like to do well, maybe you don't have to be awesome, but to win, you have to be so good. Like in all the phases, it takes so much practice. I mean, the people that are winning gold medals are in their 40s and in their 50s. You peak in the sport way later than most other sports. So that shows you it is a really long job to learn to become the best or a winner, which is why it's kind of cool because you can dedicate your life to it.
Can the horse help the rider get through something if the rider forgets a little bit?
Absolutely. And that reminds me, what you said before made me think when you said how hard is it to learn. It's harder to learn when you're on a horse that's not as good at it. But when you're on a really good horse, like one that is either more experienced than you, which happens a lot with the younger riders, or a horse that's naturally just really good at dressage, you can actually learn it quicker because it's easy for the horse. Where when you're on one that maybe struggles physically for some reason with the task, is it better at galloping than it is at doing dressage, or better at jumping than it is at galloping, whatever. You get to that hard part, it's hard to learn to do it on a horse that struggles with it. So it depends on what you're sitting on. A lot of it has to do with the horse.
A 5-star question here. We know that the 5-star at Fair Hills in Cecil County, the Maryland 5-star, is one of only 7 in the world. We know in Triple Crown racing, in thoroughbred racing, owners would like ideally to get their horses to run in all 3 of the Triple Crown if they're competitive. If they're competitive, is the goal to try and be in all of the 5-stars, or are there so many things along the way that you go, it's so expensive to travel from England to the States that we'll be content with just running in the ones in Europe?
So you could only do 2 a year on a horse, like physically, that's all they can handle because it's such a big.
I did not know. Okay, that's a help.
It's like running a Ironman or like an ultra marathon. Like your body can't handle doing a ton, but these horses' careers are pretty long.
I do 10 of those a year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So these
I,
sort of these
I
sort of
would collapse
horses.
after about 2 miles. But
Me
this is
too.
interesting for me because I didn't know there was a limit on the
Yeah,
horses.
so there's a limit, but these horses' careers are really long. Like my horse has been at the 5-star level for 6 years. So you can certainly get to a lot of them. It's prohibitive to take a horse overseas, but we've done it. I've been to 3 5-stars overseas, one in France and 2 in England. And obviously I've done the 2 in this country. There's one in Australia, which we wouldn't really travel to. That's too far to go to. There's one in Germany that I haven't been to, but definitely some people who have horses with really long 5-star careers would nearly go to everyone. They kind of make that like once you've done one and done well at it, it's like, well, let's go to the other one. It's kind of, let's see what next we can do well.
Now, the horse Barnaby, is he your horse? You own him?
I do own him myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there
Which is
cases,
unusual, actually.
are there cases where an owner will try it, like in thoroughbred racing, say Lafitte Pincay at the peak of his game was the best rider in the country, and somebody's using somebody a younger, more inexperienced, and he'll change riders. Does that happen often, or are the riders in equestrian eventing more, you get the package, the horse and the rider?
It happens unusually. It can happen. Generally, with eventing, if you switch a rider in the middle of a horse's, or even like once a horse is already a 5-star, you switch to a different rider, it can actually be a little bit problematic. Like horses learn their rider, the rider learns the horse. It's harder to switch riders, so it does happen occasionally, but it happens less often. Thank goodness for us riders. We wouldn't want them taken away, because it would be quite a risky move. And we now, as riders, tend to protect ourselves, that there's some way which that would be hard to do. Like we own a part of the horse, or it's syndicated, so multiple people own it, so not one person can pull it away from a rider. So it's more rare than in racing.
Just curious, have you ever ridden thoroughbreds?
Actually, the horse that I have in the 3-star is a thoroughbred that raced. So and he's awesome. So I'm a big fan of thoroughbreds. I haven't,
but you never were a jockey in thoroughbred racing.
No, I never did that.
Okay. Now I got to ask you the gender question. In sports, I mean, there'll be a day sometime when I'm gone where gender isn't brought up. Do you have just as good a chance to win a 5-star event as a male rider like Boyd or Joey?
Absolutely. Because so we're athletes in the sense that, we have to be strong, reflexive, quick. It takes physical strength and athleticism to do what we do, but we are not the main athlete. The horse is the athlete. They're the one that has to be like the strongest thing in the world. So like in another sport, if women were competing against men in whatever sport, men would win because they have more muscle mass than women. That's why we don't compete against each other. But in horses, because we aren't the main athlete, like them, like Boyd being more physically strong than me, it maybe gives him an advantage in some situations, but me actually having maybe like a lighter frame or more finesse, or actually I've learned how not to use strength to convince the horse to do what I want to do, gives me an advantage too. So it's different from other sports that way, where the gender, I mean, occasionally when I'm getting run off with by a really, really strong horse, I'm thinking, I wish I was a little bit stronger, but we don't need the limits of our strength to do what we do. The horse needs the limits of their strength. So gender doesn't really play a part. Thank goodness.
And I would think while the strength might be an issue in cross country, I would think the dressage and show jumping would be great equalizers,
Exactly.
Okay. Just a couple more minutes with you. We're talking with Lillian Heard, an up and coming eventing rider who's going to be riding this weekend in the 3-star and the 5-star event. do you really enjoy the teaching aspect of what you do, teaching young riders and
Yeah, I love it.
young horses?
Yeah, I love it. I've got just the coolest group of I don't know, maybe like 15 students, men and women, 20, a few teenagers, but generally like 20 to 25-year-olds that are really good riders, really, really dedicated. And, we sort of like push each other to be good. I'm trying to go and win 5 stars, so I'm pushing them to try harder. And then they're still so into it. They're not, they haven't had all these cold, horrible winters and rainy days that I've had. So they're so into it that it reminds me to be into it. It's kind of a cool kind of symbiotic relationship. And I love it. I also love helping them. And it's a different way to be in the sport. I don't have to I don't want to ride 15 horses a day. I like riding 7 horses and then teaching the rest of the day. It's kind of a way to keep doing it without sitting on a million horses, which is pretty cool for me.
And reading your bio, it sounds like are any of your students with you this weekend for this event? Do they help?
I actually,
serve
yes,
as apprentices and
yeah,
and
I got every single person, that all the girls that work for me, because I have some that work for me as well that are my students. I got them a pass into the event. They're still working at home, taking care of the horses at home, but I make sure they can come out at some point during the week so that they can sort of see it. I mean, it is so crazy to have a 5-star 25 minutes from our barn. I mean, there are 7 in the world, and we've got one 25 minutes from our barn. It is so incredible and cool, and it's great that Maryland got this 5-star. So I try and use it as a teaching tool, absolutely, with my students, because it's like really lucky. We used to have to travel, across an ocean to be able to do it. So it's pretty awesome.
Cochranville, PA is where the barn is. Windora is the farm. That's only 25 minutes away from the event.
Absolutely.
Okay,
so I get to stay in my own house.
You get to sleep in your own bed.
Yes, exactly. It's awesome.
Hey, I know we're going to be starting to keep you up after your bedtime, so I'll just keep you a couple more minutes. If we're talking to people that haven't tried to come out yet, what is something that you find very special about being at a 5-star event? Aside from the shopping and the food.
The shopping and the food is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a huge fair that actually has really cool stuff to watch. I mean, it's you couldn't come and not have a good time. But I hate to like pinpoint on my favorite part, but if you're going to come and you got one day to come, you got to come on cross country day. That is where the action is. It is so cool. Even if you know nothing about horses, you don't have to understand the sport. Like, I can't watch some sports and understand it. I'm like, what is going on in this football game? But if you come, you will understand it. It's clear. It's cool. It's action packed. The weather's going to be good. Like, I recommend anyone to come out on Saturday. And the cross country's on Saturday. So that's the day for spectating.
And if I'm not mistaken, not the riders, but other people that come to the event can drink too, right?
Exactly. So all my students' parents have, gotten tailgates and tents, and they're like coming in for the long haul. So it's a really fun experience.
Do you get the sense, knowing last year was the first year and it was coming out of the pandemic, so it got canceled one year? Do you get the sense there's more buzz now in the eventing world, and this is going to grow into something bigger and better each year?
Yeah, it's going to be huge, and it is huge. Even the difference when I drove in the gates this year versus last year, I mean, there are like tents everywhere. There's so much going on. I mean, it looks like a mega big event, and it did last year too, but it's already grown in 1 year. I'm thinking, whoa, look at this place now. So I think it's going to be huge. I mean, the 5-star at Kentucky, I don't even know how many people they have come, but it's a lot. And I think, Maryland's going to be right there with that. It's pretty cool.
Is this time of year a good time of year for the horses? I'm told that the 5-star eventing is based on the calendar for the horses. You wouldn't want them in the middle of the summer having to do the strenuous cross country stuff. So this is perfect weather.
Fall weather. Yeah, it's perfect weather. The ground is good. The going is good. It's not too wet yet. It's not too hard. And you've had all year to prepare, because you got to it takes a while to you got to do all the run up trials, all the events. So it actually has one of the best date of all the 5-stars that run in the world. This has one of the best dates for a 5-star for the riders that you can imagine. So that's a huge leg up.
Last question. The big place, if you're again advising somebody that's new, where do they watch the cross country? Where's the best place to set up shop, so to speak?
So kind of what I would recommend.
Or is it near the big screens
so
you
it's
can see?
The cross country runs through the stadium this year. So you run all over the country. I mean, it's 4 miles long, but they run us up into the stadium, which is
very
really
cool. Yeah.
Really cool. But what I would recommend if it's your first time coming is actually to sort of, it runs for, an hour or two. If you add in the 3-star, it runs for multiple hours.
Right.
I would sort of go, you go to the one main place, and then there'll be shuttles. You go to another main place. So you can sort of watch different parts of the course, kind of, because then you'll get a better idea for what the horses are going through and what they're doing. But you can wander around. There's, tents and places to buy food and drink, and it's pretty cool. So you can actually move around out there too, which is good.
All right. If you're interested, folks, Maryland, the number 5, Maryland 5star.us is where you can look up the website, how you can buy tickets and all that. Thursday and Friday, the 13th and 14th, is dressage. You can see the 3-star dressage in the morning and the 5-star dressage, I think, from 1 to 4 on both days. Cross country is Saturday 1 to 5. Am I right, or 1 to 4?
Yes, something like that. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, you won't want to leave in the middle of the cross country.
You won't.
So,
not at the end, that's for sure.
And then Sunday is the second horse inspection and the show jumping, and that's all throughout the afternoon. Okay. So I really appreciate your coming on with us. Maybe we can make this a yearly tradition, but I won't do it with you up against the big event that you gave up to come on.
Oh, no. Thanks for having me. It was great. I'm glad to be home. Now I can go to bed.
All right. Sleep well. And now I got a rooting interest this week. Barnaby.
That's right. Go Barnaby.
All right. Thank you very much. Lillian Heard.
Thank you.
And her website is LillianJHeard.com. She coaches, trains, and helps you find a horse too. All right. We'll talk about that next year. All right. Thank you, Lillian.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. I want to remind everybody that this Zoom was brought to you by the Costas Inn, located at 4100 North Point Boulevard. And you don't have to stay for this, Lillian. I appreciate you, unless you really want to find out more about the Costas Inn. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
There she goes. Quite a representative of the sport of eventing, Lillian J. Heard. Costas Inn, located 4100 North Point Boulevard. Again, the phone number 410-477-1975. But make sure you check it out sometime. Their curbside is really incredible. Again, you can order online at CostasInn.com. You can order online, you can pay online, and then you can pick up the food and you don't even have to get out of your car. That's the Costas Inn, the Triantopolos family. One of my favorite places ever. And I've known these guys since the mid-90s. So it's getting on close to 30 years. They are a real institution in Baltimore. Hope you'll check out the Maryland 5-star. Ross Grimsley and I will be back in on Monday. We'll talk some baseball, maybe just the two of us bouncing around these playoffs again tonight. This Wednesday night, you got the long rain delayed Atlanta-Philadelphia game that's starting at 7:30 on Fox. And then I think TBS has the game with the Dodgers and the Padres. All right. Anyway, appreciate it. And we'll talk to you down the road. Thank you.